We're gonna go into strength training for cricket, and we're gonna start right now. So cricket is one of the most unique sports on the planet. And this is something that about 8, 9, 10 months ago, we started to get peppered with these comments. We want some cricket content. We want to figure out what we can do to be better bowlers, to be better batsmen. How can we use the blade a little more effectively? And so I started to spend a lot of time to figure out the game. I wanted to understand what exactly is going on. And what ends up happening is I started to become a cricket fan, okay? I actually don't mind baseball here in the United States, but as I started to understand the sport, and especially watching some of the historic bowlers out there, I started to be, these guys are freaking phenomenal athletes. And there's a lot of key elements that go into the game. There's crazy amounts of speed. There's a lot of hand-eye coordination. There also is a lot of strength involved in different positions in your forearm with your trunk, how you're moving your head as a batsman, even with fielders, how quickly the fielders can react to the ball coming off the blade, and how even some of the best batsmen will try to figure out, if I can see a spot, 6, 7, 8 feet in front of me, a couple meters in front of me, and gauge, that's where the bowler is going to be putting it. If I can get in there and be on the offensive, now I can make a better movement with my bat when I'm swinging. So a lot of these key factors play into understanding the sport, understanding the 11 ways that you can get out, and understanding the overs and all these different things, right? But at the bare bones, what are those key elements that you can do inside the weight room so that you can become a better player out on the pitch? First, that key aspect, and I think this is that hidden gem with all sports right now, is going to be mobility. If you watch bowlers, the mobility they have to have in their hip, in their ankle when they're planting, in their lower back, there's a lot of pars fractures that come up as problems. So we've got to make sure that all fielders, all athletes that are playing cricket are focusing on their mobility, okay? They're gonna be focusing on getting into better positions. If they have better mobility as a batsman, they can do better defensive moves. They can move a little bit quicker. They can move laterally a little bit quicker. They can block the stumps a little bit quicker. So we've got to really focus on mobility on those key joints. That's where we also have to understand shoulders, ankles for bowlers, hips, knees, lower back. These are all problem areas. And if we're doing the right strength training and we're focusing on those things during training, it's going to transfer really, really well over to cricket, and they're going to improve their overall performance. That next key element is, I do believe you need to have a little bit of strength, okay? I believe that cricketers could benefit from looking at their sport the way I would train someone like a long jumper, okay? You need them to have some serious strength. They don't need to be seriously hypertrophic, these big monsters walking around, to actually accomplish what they need to accomplish out on the field. But there's a point to having good trunk stability, good trunk strength, good hip strength, good strength from the unilateral points to be able to react faster so they can make a play a little bit easier. There's some good strength work that can go into play. And I even like to think about someone like Bryce Harper, okay? So you can increase your back squat to a point. You don't need to back squat 600 pounds, but push it a little bit. 405, 440 pounds is okay. That's okay. You're not gonna die doing this, and you're gonna actually improve your performance because you're also going to improve your dynamic trunk control, okay? So that's that next key element. When we improve our dynamic trunk control, think about a batsman, okay? If he's leading with his head, while the bowler's coming and he's leading and he's not turning his head and he's not seeing with both eyes, okay, as the guy's coming in, as he's pitching, right? If we are leading with our head, now we're gonna fall out of place and we're not gonna be in a good position to swing the blade properly. So we're not gonna be able to control that. So having dynamic trunk control and having absolute strength to actually control the blade defensively and offensively and to dominate your bowler. So if you're a batsman, you want to dominate them. You want them to understand that you're in control, right? So if I have dynamic trunk control and I have good absolute strength, now I can move laterally more effectively, and I don't have to lead out with my head all over the place. I can control everything with my trunk because I've been training properly. I've been doing my dynamic trunk work, and I've been improving my absolute strength. Now, these last two key elements are going to be totally focused on the sport, okay? We have to have decent endurance. Think about a bowler, how frequently they have to go through their whole routine, their long approach. When they get into the last position, their penultimate step, there's a lot of work that goes into this. This requires a ton of mental acuity and a ton of endurance. That doesn't mean that I think that cricketers should be going out and running miles and miles and miles. I believe that we should factor that into the weight room. Have them work on sauna work. Have them do things and supplement properly so they can improve their endurance on the field. Have them do maybe a little bit higher rep stuff here and there. Have them do some cyclical stuff. Get on the bike for, the assault bike for 30 minutes. Have them do things while they're cycling. Now you can also ask them questions. Try to get them to focus on their mental acuity while they're under duress. It's important to understand that we can train endurance and skill-based work when we're in the weight room. We don't need to just focus on squatting 600 pounds and bench pressing 500 pounds. We can focus on things that transfer to the specific sport of cricket. And then finally, we have to work on speed movement, okay? If we're gonna focus on technical coordination, there's a lot of skill in cricket. There's a ton of skill. A batsman has to have a ton of skill. They have to be able to coordinate very, very rapidly. Technical coordination movements, reflexive movements, these will transfer really, really well to the high-speed skills that all cricketers need to dominate their opponents, okay? So we wanna focus on technical coordination, learning how to recruit effectively at very, very high speeds. But finally, we need to make sure that we're not taking away from their time out on the pitch. So with that being said, train 3 to 4 days a week. Find maybe 2 days a week to try and push their strength work a little bit. Find 2 days a week that we're gonna work on dynamic trunk control exercises, high speed movements, technical coordination movements, reflexive strength training movements. Now we have 2 days that are devoted to, simple strength movements. 2 days devoted to very complex, high speed, high skill work. And that's gonna help transfer over to the pitch. It's gonna improve their mental acuity. It's gonna improve their endurance. Strength and conditioning coaches. We don't need to look at making these guys big hulking dudes, okay, or big hulking women. I would train these athletes as though I would train a pole vaulter, a long jumper. They need to be extremely explosive. They need to be strong. They have to have a strong upper body. They have to have a strong trunk, but they don't need to be extremely hypertrophic, so take that step back. Analyze those key elements as having to have strength on the field, okay? They do need some strength. They need dynamic trunk control. They need mobility. They need some endurance, but most importantly, what's gonna transfer over the best is technical coordination movements, reflexive strength training movements at higher speeds, because that's exactly what the sport is. And if you need help with a program, you need something that's gonna help you improve out on the pitch, help you become a better batsman, help you become a little bit more explosive as a bowler. Click on the link down below, head over to garagestrength.com and pick up our strength training for cricket program today. Until next time, guys, peace.